What's up, guys? Welcome in JE Live. We are talking Rams football and pretty much whatever you guys else want to talk about. I don't really care. Just wanted to go live, engage with the community, but also talk a little bit about what's going on. I know you guys do use this channel for, anytime there's breaking news, I do tend to drop that. I mean, I may not be the main source of it, but I like being able to break that and be maybe the first to put it on YouTube. So a lot of the time you're getting it from that. Hope everyone's doing well. It is a Tuesday, and thank God, because we need to get this week moving on. I got to watch my Kansas Jayhawks play Providence, and we got to get some Rams news. We got to get some Rams signings. We got to, just a lot of stuff has to happen. Plus the laptop, I got to get the laptop eventually. We're waiting for that. Ordered that February 1st, but welcome in. Hope you guys enjoy, and if you do, be sure to like, subscribe, and keep the comments rolling. I will try to engage with them as much as I possibly can. Moon Knight is coming out as well, so a lot of good stuff on the horizon. So feeling pretty good. But let's talk about it, right? The name of the game here, Rams mulling, Bobby Wagner signing, and negotiating OBJ. So I'm going to explain all of that. I'm just going to ask you once again, be sure to mash that like button. Mash it like a mallet, like an Aaron Donald sack or a Nick Scott hit on Deebo Samuel over the middle. If you could hit that like and the thumbs up, would really appreciate it. It's going to tell YouTube, look, this guy's putting out some good content, so we're going to recommend his content to other people who also watch content similar to his. So, sorry, I'm happy, man. I feel good. Had some matcha, got that in my system. Had some mac and cheese. We are ready to roll. Got a bunch of interviews later today, so we got to go a little bit earlier today, and then you guys get Alexis Kraft after all those said interviews, which, God, I think we have interviews from 7 to 9:30 Eastern, so a lot of stuff going on there. But let's get into it. So let's start off. First thing, mulling Bobby Wagner. What am I going to tell you about that? Well, mulling Bobby Wagner, what does that mean? I saw people in the comment section. What does mulling mean? What do you mean by mulling? Mulling, what I mean by that is that the Rams, according to Les Snead, are interested, but they want to see if he's a fit. And before you say, the hell you talking about, it does make sense. Basically, the point of that is that they are going to watch film. They are going to analyze how Bobby Wagner can help out the defense and what they might have to do with the defense, and then they'll decide if he's worth how much money they might have to invest. I think it makes sense. So, here's the thing. With the Rams, they run a very nickel-heavy defense. They run a lot of nickel. They kind of are a multiple defense. They play multiple fronts, but for the most part, they like having, their slot corner or another safety. So they don't really play a ton with two linebackers, right? Especially with, Jalen Ramsey playing the star role. So that's something to keep in mind. But with Bobby Wagner, when they're watching the tape and they're trying to decide if he fits, this is not necessarily a base 3-4. Let me just start off by saying this is not a base 3-4. A base 3-4 would be three defensive linemen. You have your outside linebackers and your two inside linebackers, corners, safeties. That's it. That's how it works. There's no nickel. The base 3-4 defense is exactly three up, four back, and then you got your corners and your safeties up top. Rams don't run a base 3-4. They've never run a base 3-4. And in a way, it's kind of similar to a 4-3, which just, obviously it's got a mixture of those elements. But with that said, this is more of a nickel-based defense that uses one inside linebacker more than not, right? And with that said, it's kind of like, we got Bobby Wagner, who's amazing, and the potential of bringing him in, but at the same time, does he fit our scheme? And that's the question. Does he fit our scheme? And that I don't know. I think, and I'll say this right now, I don't know if he does. But what I will say, is that with Bobby Wagner, what he does well is that he can do everything, and he is a general. And so now you have him, and you have Ernest Jones. You have what I would say is a veteran presence in Bobby Wagner. They're both Super Bowl champions, so it's not like he's offering that in a sense, because Ernest Jones just won a Super Bowl, and he was a big part of that. But I do think having that veteran leadership does help, and I don't think you can underestimate how important that veteran leadership truly is. So, with that said, you have Bobby Wagner who's available. Now, like I said, they have one linebacker that they like to play more often than not. So they are going to decide, do they want to play more with two linebackers? Because you know what's not an option? You know what's absolutely not an option? Not playing Ernest Jones. They want Ernest Jones starting. They love him. He is the guy. It's probably a reason why they didn't go out and get Corey Littleton or anyone for that matter. I think truly they believe in Ernest Jones so much that really the only reason this is a debate is because we're talking about the skill set of Bobby Wagner. We're talking about a guy who has been maybe the best inside linebacker the last 5 years or more. And so they've had to at least think about it. They've had the internal discussion. Now they're going to watch the film and they're going to think about it. That was what Les Snead was talking about. So they are mulling Bobby Wagner, not clickbait. They're mulling Bobby Wagner. They're not necessarily signing him. They might, but they're mulling the idea of signing Bobby Wagner to a contract. And I'm okay with that. If they decide he's not a fit, the world will continue to move. The Rams are still a Super Bowl favorite, and I still have them the Super Bowl playing the Bills. It's just a matter of how much better can this team get? Because it doesn't hurt to get better. As you see from time to time, especially when you get to the playoffs, wins and losses come down to 3 to 4 plays. And in those 3 to 4 plays, I'd much rather have Bobby Wagner and Ernest Jones than just have Ernest Jones. In those 3 to 4 plays, I'd much rather have a Von Miller than no Von Miller, right? But sometimes it's not always possible. And that's what we really dive into. That's what we get into because, yes, today, Les Snead basically admitted that Von Miller was the centerpiece of their offseason. They left the door open for him. He had an opportunity to sign with the Rams. They gave him, they gave him that that contract, that roster spot, and he said no. So then they moved on and they signed Allen Robinson, and they were able to add another player that maybe they wouldn't have added had Von Miller come back. So basically, Les Snead confirmed today that Allen Robinson was signed with Von Miller's money. Von Miller, they expected him to come back, and when he didn't come back, and that was the main plan, they decided to look at potentially upgrading the offense. And I'm sorry, guys, I keep seeing people getting kicked out of the stream. I have no idea. I turned off monetization and keeps turning it back on. It's sending ads. I've literally reached out to YouTube about it. I don't know why it keeps doing that, so I do apologize. All I can say, unfortunately, is when we are live and that does happen, please just come back because, it really does help me out. And I feel bad, but there's literally nothing I can do. I've reached out to YouTube multiple times and they say there's no error. It's just, that's the way it is. But I keep turning on monetization, so I don't know why it's doing that. So yeah, if you get kicked, please rejoin. I really do appreciate your support, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience there. But kind of moving back to what I was saying about, Allen Robinson, I like this, and I think what Allen Robinson's move is that it signals that the Rams are looking to kind of retool their offense. They're looking to, obviously we talked about diversifying the receiver room. That's not anything new. But what I will say is that it does beg the question, how different will this Rams offense be with Liam Cohen? And we've talked about it. We've hinted at the idea of Liam Cohen coming from a top 4 SEC offense, being a big, factor in that, and how he could, incorporate different elements of the college game with this offense. And I don't think it's the craziest thing because, just at the end of the day, guys, the Rams have never, they have not since recaptured the luster and the flair and the consistency that they had in that offense with Todd Gurley. So they have to find a way to get that flair back, to get that consistency back. and to get that fire back to be the best offense in the league. And make no mistake about it, man, Sean McVay wants to be the best offense in the league, right? That is what Sean McVay wants. That is what Sean McVay is thinking. You know, and I will say this. I will say this right now. If Sean McVay makes changes and the offense looks different and they incorporate more college-based, you know, talk about more pistol and things like that, I don't care as long as it provides results, right? So, YouTube TVA. That always cracks me up, Nolan. You got to know that. So, with that said, started off talking about Bobby Wagner, why the Rams are mulling him. We talk about now Allen Robinson today, finding out that he was basically signed with Von Miller money. He wouldn't be here otherwise, and maybe Robert Woods is still here if Von Miller signs. Who knows? And now you're probably like, okay, so we talked about some of the title. What about the rest of the title with OBJ? Now, OBJ, from what I'm told, has multiple offers, and he has a lot of interest, and there are teams that do want him. And the Rams are working on a contract with him. And I think, here's the thing, OBJ, the longer they wait, it doesn't really matter in regards to the compensatory pick formula. He wouldn't count against the compensatory pick formula. So that's not the reason. The reason being is that I think that they are trying to make sure, like, I would not be surprised, and I've said this before, I would not be surprised if this OBJ deal is a multi-year deal. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Also, keep in mind, his contract is going to be a little more confusing and complicated for multiple reasons. The first being that he just tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. So this is the second time he's done it. Doctor said basically he already had issues with his knee, so it already wasn't doing well, and his ACL gave out. So that's a concern. But another thing is, and this isn't a concern, this is just how he prefers being paid. He prefers being paid in Bitcoin. And, you know, the last time it didn't go all that well because Bitcoin fell immediately after he, you know, got that deal. But he also, that was a heavy incentive-based deal, and incentives really come out of the pocket of the owner. If you really think about it, it's not really a cap hit. It's more of the owner taking on that hit. That's why those incentives really don't hurt your cap as much as you would expect. So if it's heavy incentive-based, right? If it's heavy incentive-based, if it's Bitcoin-based, if it's based on his ACL, you can see why this isn't a deal that would get done in a week. You could see why this is a deal that might get done in May or June or July or even August. Because what is the rush for OBJ to sign? I think the way, you know, Les Snead put it is that obviously OBJ wants to stay here. So it's a matter of the Rams ponying up the cash, I think. And they're trying to have a win-win here because the Rams can't make a move, you know, off feelings because OBJ caught the first touchdown, you know, in the Super Bowl and he was huge for them. They can't just go off feelings and give him a boatload of money because they feel bad he tore his ACL. They have to make a decision. We've already seen a tough business decision with Robert Woods. We saw Sebastian Joseph Day go out the door. They got rid of Johnny Hecker. There's no emotional decisions in this business, and that is going to be very clear moving forward, although you could argue Aaron Donald is a little bit emotional. But also, you know, he's worth it. Whatever. I'm not going to get too much into that. My point here is that OBJ isn't going to get a 3-year, $30 million deal or anything like that. It's going to be like a 1-year to 2-year thing. They can't guarantee he's going to be back and fully healthy and fully ready to compete. We know the idea is he wants to get back by November. There could be a setback, and a setback would be enough to probably keep him out until the playoffs. And if he had another setback, we're looking at next year, and the Rams would be, you know, they'd have to still pay him. He'd still be under contract. So there's something there to keep in mind. There's just so much that goes in that OBJ deal. I don't expect that to get done anytime soon. Although I will say, Les Snead's choice words, they were interesting to say the least. You know, saying that he wants him to be a free agent a little bit less, you know, longer than it looks like he's going to be or something like that. He doesn't want him to be a free agent that much longer. And I feel like the Rams are going to get OBJ back. But, you know, it's going to take a little bit. And I think that's why, they went out and got Allen Robinson, and Allen Robinson signals just diversifying of the room because they don't have anybody like him. The closest guy to him is Warren Jackson, and this is somebody that spent time on the practice squad but really hasn't had any game experience. Jacob Harris, you could argue, but Jacob Harris is his own thing. Like, Jacob Harris is closer than Calvin Johnson than Allen Robinson is. Allen Robinson is like if the Rams did go out last year and sign Marvin Jones or Kenny Golladay. That's more like Allen Robinson there. So you have to keep that in mind. They really haven't had either of those type of guys. And we'll see. I mean, Tutu Atwell's working out with, Deshaun Jackson, this offseason, trying to get everything down there. And he's coming back off a shoulder. He had shoulder surgery. So, we had him on the show, and, he sounds ready to go. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see Jacob Harris, who's coming off a torn ACL. The hope is that that's not going to linger, but we've seen, guys like Cooper Kupp. I mean, he's only been better since he tore his ACL. I think he's faster. I think he's more explosive. I think he just became a better receiver after the torn ACL. So, there's all sorts of stuff, but, I think, yeah, Coach, I know that's wishful thinking since you're a Niners fan. I don't see OBJ trying to get himself to Indy. I think OBJ wants to stay in LA. I saw some Browns fans saying, we have a quarterback now. That made me laugh. OBJ also put out a tweet, I would like to add, about how, he was talking up Stafford and saying he's the real deal pretty recently. So let's not forget that. But no, I'm not worried about OBJ leaving. I'm more worried if they were to not get him, it would be the Rams turning him down. I don't think he's going to turn down the Rams. But Mike Tannenbaum, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole Bitcoin thing. I don't see why it matters. Who's Reed? DJ Reed? No, he's already on the Jets. Hold on one sec. Oh, Jaron Reed. That's a good signing. That's a pretty good signing. Yeah. Huh, interesting. All right. Well, yeah. So we talked about Wagner. We hit on Allen Robinson. We hit on OBJ. And now, I'll tell you right now, corner's very interesting. Very interesting. Les Snead kind of alluded to the idea that, like, having a veteran presence could help. I don't have the exact transcript in front of me, although I probably should have that. Maybe I can find it. But regardless of that, basically, to make a long story short with all of that, is that, he wants... I'm not saying he wants, but he kind of alluded to the idea that they could be looking at veteran corners. And if they are, there's plenty of guys out there. And I will say this over and over and over again. Bobby Wagner has not taken a deal anywhere, and neither has Stephon Gilmore or AJ Boye or, any of those type of guys, okay? These guys are holding out, but why are they holding out? Why are they holding out? Because the defending Super Bowl champion Rams could be in the mix. Tyrann Mathieu has multiple offers, and he still has not signed anywhere. Doesn't that make you think? I mean, look at how quickly other guys sign. Doesn't it make you think that they're just sitting there and they're like, should I go to the Rams? Let's wait until this Aaron Donald contract comes out, and then I'll figure it out, right? And that's how I feel like it's going. I feel like part of me kind of feels like Clowney is kind of doing that as well. I don't know if the Rams are interested in Clowney. I feel like more likely than not, I think the Rams are, I agree with you. I think the Rams are in a good position, but I feel like the Rams are kind of the last domino to fall. Aaron Donald's the last domino to fall for the Rams, and the Rams will then kind of dictate who's going to go where, because if Aaron Donald signs this deal and they end up having all this cap space, they could pluck Gilmore and Wagner and maybe even Boye while they're at it. Who knows? I don't know how much money this is going to free up. No one really has any idea. So, I feel like, with that said, the Rams, we have Wagner, who they're mulling. You have OBJ, who they want to bring back, and they are trying to extend. You have Allen Robinson, who, I mean, obviously he's going to be a hell of a player, but was not initially plan A. He's the plan B, and they're using the money that they were going to spend on Von Miller for him, which probably changed the offense a little bit and allowed them to get a little creative on that offensive side. I think we'll see a little bit of a different offense, more pass happy than run happy. I know that might piss off some people, but in hindsight, you know, like, that's the thing. Because there's a lot of people that like run the ball, right? But last year, it was run the ball because OBJ's learning the playbook. Robert Woods is out for the year. I don't trust Skoranek. Tutu's out for the year. Jacob Harris is out for the year. That was why. But if they're healthy, I mean, you're going to have to stop the pass before I run on you, because you're going to have to show me that you can stop Allen Robinson, who dropped one pass last year and who is almost undefeated when it comes to, you know, contested catch percentage. You know, that's the thing. Like, you're going to have to show me as a Ram, you know, offensive coordinator or head coach, you're going to have to show me that you can stop Matthew Stafford, the defending Super Bowl champion Rams, you know? So that's kind of my thing. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. And then, you know, we also talked about the corners. I'm getting the feeling, though, that the Rams are going to end up with Wagner and Gilmore, as long as this works out well. Because if Gilmore wasn't going to go to the Rams, who, by the way, is really good friends with Ramsey, if he wasn't going to go to the Rams, I don't know why he wouldn't have signed with the Raiders by now. Knows Josh McDaniels. They need a corner. They got a really good-looking defense. They just spent money on a pass rusher that's going to make his life easier. Yes, they're in a tough division, but he's got a chance to go up against great competition. And I'm sorry, when you're a corner, it's different, folks. It's different. It's not a quarterback. It's not running away from the NFC West when they get tough, right? When you're a corner, you're like, bring it on. Bring on competition. Jalen wants to cover the best receiver, right? Stephon wants to cover the best receiver. Corners don't shy away from competition. So if anyone thinks he's not going to the Raiders because the AFC West is scary with Tyreek Hill and Juju Smith-Schuster and, you know, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but he's not scared of that. That's not why he wouldn't go to the Raiders. No corner is going to shy away from competition. That is why corners are different. It's the same thing with wide receivers. Wide receivers don't sign somewhere based on the fact, oh, I'm scared of their corners. No. Are you kidding me? Do you think Stephon Diggs was afraid of J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore? No. No. He's not. And that's the thing. So those two positions, you know, that are frequently compared to divas, it's because they have the swagger, the chip on their shoulder. Like, they're not scared of going anywhere. It's different for a quarterback. Because when you're a quarterback, you need an offensive line. And if your offensive line isn't top notch, I mean, you have pass rushers running 4.3s now. I'm not outrunning that. I don't care if you're Russell Wilson. I don't care who you are. Tom Brady definitely isn't. But I don't care if you're Russell Wilson. I don't care if you're Lamar Jackson. Like, that Barno guy at the Combine ran a 4.3. He is an edge defender. That should terrify people because that is what's to come. Now you have more guys. And the reason this happens, this isn't just evolution, folks. The reason pass rushers are getting more explosive is because these coaches now need these guys. Because the Justin Fields, Lamar Jacksons of the world that are coming out of college, Desmond Ridder ran a 4.5. These guys that are coming out of college, when they're in college, you're now recruiting wide receivers that can't catch because they run 4.3s, 4.2s, 4.4s, and you're asking them to put on 20 more pounds because in college you could be a 220-pound pass rusher and work. They're asking these guys to put on 20 pounds and rush a passer. Learn how to pass rush. And that's why. It's not crazy evolution or anything like that. Obviously, I'm sure some of it has to do with all the sports medicine and the advancements we've made, but a lot of it is just, hey, can you rush the passer? Because I have quarterbacks that are running 4.4s. I have quarterbacks that are faster than our receivers. So when they get out of the pocket, we need a guy that can chase them down. And that's what's happening. So now you have guys like Barno who are running 4.3s, and we're going to see more of this over time. So if you're a quarterback, going back to my main point in all this, if you're a quarterback who doesn't have an offensive line, and now you have pass rushers that are running, sprinter speeds, then yeah, maybe I'm less likely to sign with a team that's in a division that has top premier pass rushers because I don't trust my offensive line. But corners and wide receivers, they're not going to shy away from competition. I don't think running backs care, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody runs away from competition. I'm not saying quarterbacks only do, but I don't think any quarterback necessarily is running away from their division because of competition. A cornerback. So Gilmore, to make a long story short, although it was already pretty long, Gilmore is not like against signing with the Raiders because of who they added, who the Chiefs added and all of that. Gilmore's holding out because he's got offers, and I think he's waiting on the Rams to be a player in there. And now this is an interesting point from Giovanni that I really do want to highlight. I like a lot. Jake, since the Vikings signed Zadarius Smith, is there a chance they might move on from Danielle Hunter? Now, this is an interesting one because I've been seeing this and I've been thinking about it myself. And how Rams would it be for this team to be like, they're interested in Bobby Wagner, they're interested in Gilmore, they get all these rumors leaked about him, and then out of nowhere, they're like, we're not going to sign anybody. They end up trading for Danielle Hunter. And now they have a 27-year-old pass rusher who set them up for the future. And I'll say this is why I'm not against this. I understand they're running out of, draft capital, and you could make that argument. But Danielle Hunter is the fastest to get to 50 sacks in the NFL. Fastest player. And furthermore, this is somebody, you watch his film at LSU, and he is nothing. Okay? He is nothing like he is now. So, I want to point that out because Hunter is a different animal. He is exactly I think the best way I could put it is he's the best example of how coaching matters in the NFL and how if you develop somebody, just because, his tape didn't look that good in college, and you stick with him, you like the tools, you see he has a motor, he just has to refine some things, and you don't just write bust on his name, and you truly are hands-on and you develop him, you can get a guy like Danielle Hunter, who is a very, very good passer. I would say elite. I would say when Hunter's healthy, he is elite as anybody. He's very fast. He's quick off the edge. He's got a toolbox of moves. He can win with speed to power. He can win with his speed. He's got all sorts of moves. And now this opportunity where you can go and trade for him if possible and put him on the same line with, Floyd and Greg Gaines and Aaron Donald and, A'Shawn Robinson. I mean, maybe we're not really thinking about this. Maybe it's all under our noses. Maybe this whole time, the trade for Robert Woods, hear me out when I say this, maybe this whole time, this trade for Robert Woods is the Kenny Young trade. Remember how they got nothing for Kenny Young? Remember that? They got nothing for Kenny Young. And then right after that, after we all had our issues, the Kenny Young thing, didn't take long for Von Miller to get traded to the Rams. Okay? Rams already had discussions with the Vikings about, being interested in Danielle Hunter. And now you talk about the idea, Woods goes to Tennessee. That's where he wants to go. They get a 6th rounder next year. Not this year, next year. That sounds to me like that could be a part of a package of some sort. Like, you wouldn't use that as the focal point, but the Rams like to trade multiple picks over years because they're valuable to other teams, not to the Rams. So, like, for instance, perfect example, they traded away Brandon Cooks for a second-round pick, but they added a fourth-rounder. So, like, they traded away Brandon Cooks and a fourth-round pick in the future to get a second-round pick in return. So they gave up a fourth-round pick later on to kind of make the value balance. Would not be surprised if they use that sixth-rounder they got from Woods, and kind of similar to the Sony Michel deal, they use that sixth-rounder that they got from Woods. Maybe they use some of the picks they got from Sony Michel, whatever, and they send it over to take on Danielle Hunter's contract. I have a feeling that they could get Gilmore. I really feel like Bobby Wagner's likely. But I really do feel like we might be missing the whole thing with Danielle Hunter. And I'll be honest with you, I'd be all for Danielle Hunter. I'm going to look at the Vikings depth chart and see if it makes any sense for them. But I would not be surprised. This is somebody that, he's had some injuries. That's definitely a problem. It's been a problem. But as of right now, he'd be starting. You'd have Zadarius Smith. And they got a really good pass rusher in 2020 in the fourth round in DJ Wonham, who has really become quite the player there. So, we'll see. They drafted Patrick Jones in the third round last year, Janarius Robinson in the fourth, Kenny Willekes in the seventh in 2020, and they got Tayshawn Bauer. I'm not saying that's enough to just get rid of Danielle Hunter, and we've seen it. The Rams went out and got Von Miller, despite the fact they spent a fifth on Okoronkwo, a seventh on Chris Garrett, a third on Terrell Lewis, and then they have a former fifth-round pick who they claimed in Justin Hollins. It wasn't enough to stop them from trading for Von Miller, but who knows? This is an offensive-minded coach in Kevin O'Connell. Who knows if they, maybe they want to, put more of the cap space, maybe just, work on the offense a little bit. They got some good players. I think KJ Osborne, his development last year was impressive. They have Thielen. He's coming back for another year. Justin Jefferson, great long-term. They have Olabisi Johnson. Dede Westbrook is a free agent. They have Amir Smith-Marset, who I love, fifth rounder from 2021 class. But after that, that's it. Sure, Tristan Jackson, but that's really it. So maybe they go wide receiver or something. I don't know. But they also, Patrick Peterson is a free agent. Sheldon Richardson is too. So, maybe they try to spend some money and bring those guys back. Everson Griffin, Anthony Barr, Mac Alexander. I don't think you want Mac Alexander going out the door. So, we could see a myriad of things. But, yeah, if Danielle Hunter is the guy that maybe they just look at and they're like, you know what? He is 27. He'll be 28 in October. But he's had some injuries. He had the COVID, COVID-19 IR. He had the IR in 20. So he's been hurt in back-to-back seasons. COVID, and he got hurt last year. He's been hurt in back-to-back seasons. I don't know. Paying him that much money, the Vikings might balk at that. And this is a new regime. So maybe the Rams are going to get Danielle Hunter, and it was right under our noses the whole time, and we should have seen it. At 6'5", 252 pounds, he fits the mold of a defensive, a defensive player, edge defender on their team in that scheme. Very athletic. We're talking very athletic player in his own right. Yeah, maybe the Zadarius Smith move was to replace him. And, if they do that, again, third rounder in 2021 with Patrick Jones, fourth rounder in 2021 in Janarius Robinson, and then, of course, you have DJ Wonham, who took significant strides in, he's the 2020 fourth round pick. So, I'm not going to say he won't go to the Rams or anything like that, because I'm not really sure, but I'm starting to kind of feel like maybe that's where this whole thing is headed. Maybe they're, going to make a big move or something. Who knows? But I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you want Danielle Hunter to be a Ram? Would you want Danielle Hunter to be a Ram if that meant the 27-year-old Danielle Hunter to be a Ram if that meant that they weren't going to get Bobby Wagner and Gilmore. Well, Harris is not really much of a tight end. That's kind of what the Rams realized, so I don't know if I would say that. I wouldn't trade Higbee. Would not trade Higbee. I don't see them doing it. I know the Vikings had interest before, but I wouldn't do it personally. They might get Wagner and Gilmore. Man, I'm just telling you right now, the Rams are going to do something big. It's going to happen. It's way too quiet. I think the Rams are going to do something big. Like I said, it's way too quiet for just nothing to happen. Guys, be sure to hit the like button, thumbs up. It helps me out, tells YouTube that this is the place to be. And yeah, I really do appreciate it. We're already over 1,000 views. Well, I mean, we've, 40 minutes or so. That makes sense, but still pretty cool. So yeah, hit that thumbs up. We're at, 280 people. Pretty awesome. Let's see here. So right now, Spotrac has the Rams at $8.8 million. They have Allen Robinson. His cap hit this year is crazy, okay? So Allen Robinson, I don't think anybody's talked about this. I've seen no one bring this up. Allen Robinson's contract is very interesting here. So he is a free agent in 2025. He's got 2 void years on his deal. His base salary is $1.5 million in 2022. So Allen Robinson, his cap hit in 2022 is $4.3 million. That's crazy. So $4.3 million. Then, of course, in 2023, it's 18. They have an out with 8.4 dead cap if they want it after 2023. And then 2024 would be 18.5 million in cap hit. So this is what I'm saying. They don't need all of this, right? They don't need all of these cap moves. If you really think about it, if they're just paying Aaron Donald, they wouldn't need all these cap moves. So this tells me that this year, don't be surprised if Aaron Donald's cap hit this year is hardly anything, and they gave him a big signing bonus. Because I really am starting to kind of feel like there's going to be something big. Because, I mean, this is ridiculous. $4.3 million cap hit this year. It goes up to 18 next year. So his cap hit this year is lower than $5 million. You know who else is lower than $5 million? Everyone else they've signed except for Stafford. So that, I mean, come on, guys. It's right in front of us. They're going to do something big. Whether it comes in 2s, 3s, or just 1, they're going to do something big. Hard to tell with Aaron Donald. He is the highest paid player on the team, 16.7. They did also touch on that. Les Snead said they're trying to find a win-win solution. Like I said yesterday, there is no way that the Rams are just going to gift Aaron Donald a raise and not get something in return. This is going to be a reworked deal where he makes more money, but make no mistake about it, it's going to help the Rams financially. It's going to help them with the cap. So, yeah, this is crazy. So, Robinson $4.3 million this year. They got Floyd down to $8 million via the restructure. And now they have Edwards has a higher cap hit than Coleman Shelton does. And Noteboom has a $3.5 million cap hit. Matthew Stafford, his cap hit, I don't even know if they have his contract yet on here. I don't think they do. Or if they do, it's super low. Oh, yeah. Matthew Stafford's cap hit is 13.5. So you have 13.5 for Stafford. You have Allen Robinson at 4.3. You have Noteboom at 3.5. By the way, Andrew Whitworth, they still have on the books at a $3.2 million cap hit, which I find really odd. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I guess, I mean, he's retired, so it's not like maybe he's planning a comeback and Spotrack's ahead of everyone. Who knows? So I'm looking at the managed roster now to see if it updates. I mean, the Rams should be in double digit for cap number, and they still haven't done the Donald deal. So, and like I always say, guys, it's cap. It's cap hit. Like, it's not average annual necessarily. The Rams aren't as simple as every other team. Like, there are teams that are average annual, and that's it. They sign a guy, $8 million over 5 years, $40 million, right? So it's $8 million each year. It's not that way with the Rams. So it's very simple. The Rams, they have what? Well, let's just turn Whitworth's into 0. So that would put them at like 11. Yeah. So, I mean, they can still restructure Kupp. They can restructure Ramsey. And then they're probably going to restructure Donald in some capacity. I would imagine Donald's cap figure is going to be pretty low. Probably like around 20, maybe even below that. We'll put it at 17 just for the hell of it. And we already got, Stafford did his, you got Ramsey, Kupp. Say you do that, you get Higbee restructured, and then that's pretty much all you can really do at that point. So all that together, that would get you about $42 million in cap space. So you see what I'm saying? Like, and at worst, it'd be like $32 million. But say right now, $42 million in cap space. You have to keep in mind they need about $5 million. They need about $5 million. What was it? Yeah, they need about $5 million that's reserved for the draft because you have to obviously pay your draft picks. So, what, $35 million to play with in all likelihood? And it's just cap hit. So, obviously, you always have to keep in mind later on. And I don't think Gilmore just wants to sign for a year. But if the Rams sign him for a year and they get his cap hit at like $8 million, then you're looking at what? 27 left? Say you get Bobby Wagner down to $7 million cap hit. So then you have 20 left. And that's enough to take on the contract. That would be Danielle Hunter. I'm pretty sure I can just add him. Or I could trade. I don't know how it works. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So, yeah, we'll do that. Add Danielle Hunter. And boom. Now, Danielle Hunter would be... The Vikings already paid his bonus. So, his cap hit right now is $1.7 million. He had an $18 million bonus. I'm not saying that's out the door. I'm sure the Rams could do something where they're like, all right, well, they paid... Yeah, so Ryan, I put together... I don't know the contract and what it's going to be for Donald, but I just said, say his cap hit is $18 million, right? Because the Rams are going to get something out of it. They're going to free up some space. Probably use some void years, things like that. So I put $18 million as a placeholder. Rams have plenty to play with. And Danielle Hunter right now, because they took on $18 million in that bonus, because they paid his bonus. His cap hit would be like 1 point something. So say the Rams have to take that on because he had an $18 million roster bonus. You could be looking at, they could still do it. He restructured on June 14th, 2021 with the Vikings. So, and the Vikings here, if they trade him if they trade him post, so they could do a post June 1st trade designation. If they traded him post June 1st, they would save some cap space. If they traded him before June 1st designated, they would lose $3 million in cap space and have $29 million in dead money. Whereas they would just only have to incur about $24 million in dead money if they traded him post 6-1. So that's something to keep in mind there. But I don't know if I would trade him if I had already paid the roster bonus. I don't think I would. But I would either ask the Rams for more, or I would say, hey, Rams, you take on this roster bonus. You send us, or you take on the rest of this contract. We're not helping you, and we'll send him for a 4th rounder or a 5th rounder or something. That's why the Rams wouldn't have to give up as much. They may not have to give up as much for the 27-year-old pass rusher if indeed, they end up taking on his contract and they don't have any sort of help. So, yeah, it's not a pay cut. That's the thing. AD getting his cap hit being lower is not a pay cut. It's just the way it works on the books. It helps the Rams out. The Rams are still paying him however much he wants. Oh, they restructured his contract today? Did they really? Maybe that makes it even more likely. Let's see. To make room for Zadarius Smith, cleared $13 million in cap space. Let's see. They could keep him. I wouldn't be shocked if they keep him. And, converting the bonus could mean that they do keep him, but don't rule it out. Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. We're at over 100, and we got 340 plus people in here. Wow, these streams are like back when I used to stream, when I first started streaming, the beginning of 2021. Love to see it. No, the Rams didn't get Bobby Wagner. No, they didn't. We were just talking about how Les Snead basically, they're mulling over the idea of getting Bobby Wagner. So according to Greg Beacham, who tweeted this out, he covers the Rams for the Associated Press. The Rams GM Les Snead is keeping all options open for replacing cornerback Darius Williams, who almost never left the field when healthy last year. We're always trying to develop from within, and we'll look outside. Doesn't have to be free agency or trade. It can be in the draft. Now, I could see either or. I will say, don't count out Gilmore, Bourrier, Peterson. I mean, I would not be a fan of bringing in Patrick Peterson. I think he's truly lost a step, but Gilmore and Boye, I think, would bring something to the table for sure. There is still a chance. Yeah, now it's time to return the favor. Yeah. Well, hey, I think if the Rams get Danielle Hunter, I mean, I don't know what they'd give up. I wouldn't give up a first, I can tell you that. But the Rams get Danielle Hunter, I will be very happy. I mean, he's a freak. He's very, very good. Very well coached. Like I said, he was developed. You look at his tape back when he was at LSU. He's got the motor, but he wasn't quite the player he is today. I'm not worried about OBJ leaving. No, OBJ is not going to the Patriots. There's no reason why he would go to the Patriots. There's no reason why he would leave LA unless the Rams pushed him out. Coach, thank you so much for donating. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. Love it. Why would the Vikings do that? I mean, to be honest with you, it's a great question. Why would the Vikings do that? To be honest with you, I don't really know. But why would they try to trade him to begin with? If he's due an $18 million roster bonus, it shouldn't matter. I mean, he's a 27-year-old pass rusher who's one of the best in the league when healthy. It's got to be because of his health. And they must be looking at this season as a prove-it season for him because he's got to get back on track. He's been hurt. We're paying you a lot. This is a new regime. I could see it. And, I mean, we don't know. They hired a different defensive coordinator, I believe, right? Ed Donatelli. I think he's new. I'm going to check it out. Yes, he is new. Yeah, Ed Donatelli they hired to be the new defensive coordinator. So it's a new defensive coordinator, new head coach, completely new regime, new GM. That's my thing. Okay, so there's so much new here. There's so much turnover that maybe these guys are looking at Danielle Hunter less than what can this guy do for me this year and more about what can this guy bring into this organization as far as if we trade him, what can we get out of this to make sure that we can find our guy. I get it. Yeah, OBJ, I don't think he goes to the Pats. If OBJ goes anywhere, watch wherever Jarvis Landry goes, but I really don't see him leaving unless the Rams totally botch it. He's not going to the Browns, though. I think it's really funny that Browns fans think he is. Yeah, I'm thinking the new defensive coordinator is really interesting here. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Matt Daniels is the special teams coordinator for the Vikings, former Ram out of Duke. He was the assistant special teams coach with Coach Bones, who he took to Dallas, so good for him. If Jarvis went to the Chargers, I wouldn't be surprised. They're best friends. They both are in LA at the same time. Handsome Eric, I don't always do streams at this time. Typically, I do them around 7, 8 Eastern. Because I know most people on the West Coast, I understand the commute, driving. How long? Well, I don't understand it because, I haven't been through it the way you guys have. But I understand coming back from school and wherever you're coming from, school, work, it can be ridiculous as far as how long you're waiting in the car. And you know YouTube, it doesn't allow you to really, I mean, I guess you can use it if you keep the app open, and I'm sure some people do use it as like a radio show. I've seen that, where people are like, oh, I love your YouTube channel, I've never seen you in person because I only listen to the audio version of it when I'm in the car, but it's awesome. And so, you know, I try to kind of, work with everyone's schedule. It's hard because I have people from all over the world too, not just on the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, things like that. But I mean, I have people, in Australia and Germany, and I mean, it's pretty crazy, and I appreciate the support. Clowney for the league minimum. I don't think he's gonna take that. Jarvis back to the Browns. That would be something. I would never go back to where I was let go. I'll say that right now. Like, I believe they cut him. Am I wrong? Jarvis Landry got cut, right? He's not a free agent because he was a natural free agent. Yeah, Browns cut Jarvis Landry. There's no way in hell I'm going back to the Browns. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to mix it up a little bit. You know me. I mix up everything with this channel, right? After a while, I like doing like I have a format that I do with like my template as far as how I do my thumbnails. I change the way my thumbnails look every now and then. I change the way the HUD looks, for my live stream. I got some complaints about people saying that they wanted like my head not covered. So I got rid of the JE Live here and I put it over there. Nope. There we go. Right there. Camera's flipped, so like always throws me off. But yeah, so thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sammy, I know what you mean there, but Fletcher was released to get a cheaper deal. Like the Eagles want him back, but he had to take a pay cut. With Landry wanted out. Like I believe it was like a mutual thing, and so I don't think he'll go back. I don't know where Baker's gonna go. I kind of feel like the Steelers really want to go up and get. I mean, I don't know if they will, but I kind of feel like the Steelers want to go up and get Malik Willis in the draft. I just don't know if they have enough, like, I mean, they have capital because you can offer late, like, first round, next year and the year after or whatever. You could always figure it out, but I don't know. I mean, if they don't go up and get Malik Willis, if they're not thinking about that, maybe they get Baker. I could see, the Steelers getting Baker to back up, I could see it. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I got another display that's going to go back there. I'm hoping it's tall enough to see over the Rams helmet. But yeah, I got another display coming. It's going to be a mask. Not like horror, because I got my sports there, my Rams. You can't see it, but it's like this small like statue. Like, I cannot deal with this right now. Small statue. It's the Super Bowl one. Like, I'll get out of this. See? So I got the Super Bowl 56 like logo statue thing. And then I got Michael Myers rocking the Rams helmet. And then I'm going to have a Spider-Man mask right there. And at some point I want to get Mandalorian because I want my setup to be like me, They might get Bobby Wagner. It's just right now they're mulling the idea of it. They're watching film. They're trying to figure out a way that will be best for them and see if he fits. Because what I was saying earlier, and you missed it, is that this team doesn't run a base 3-4. It's not as simple as plugging in 2 inside linebackers. I like that, Scott. Yeah, it's not as simple as plugging in 2 inside linebackers. Like, they run nickel a lot, so, The plan is they're trying to bring back OBJ. It's not a guarantee. like I thought it was, because, well, a lot of stuff has changed. But, you know. And I'm sure he wants more money now because he got hurt. He's trying to take care of himself. I get it. Ooh. Evan, that is a great question. Gilmore or Wagner? And are they both the same money? Like, money is not coming into it? Because I feel like Gilmore would be a little bit more. Evan, hit me back on that because I need to know that part. Because that could decide it for me. Oh, man, that's... Okay, the same amount of money. Gilmore and Ramsey, man? Good luck. Ah. Damn. This is tough, man. I'm leaning Gilmore, but Wagner's so good. Huh. I think I'm going to take Gilmore. I trust Ernest Jones to be the single linebacker. And if not, you can draft depth. Obviously, a guy by the name of DeMarco Jackson, a lot of you guys know, from App State. We interviewed him on Downtown Rams. I like him a lot. I could see the Rams grabbing him. So you get him for depth. You have Traven Howard. You don't play linebacker a ton. You have a pseudo linebacker and Taylor Rapp. You have Terrell Burgess who can come down and play that position, as well as Nick Scott if you have to do that. But you have the star position in Jalen Ramsey. And so then you would have Gilmore. So it would open up opportunities to have the star position utilized even better, in my opinion. Then you have Robert Rochelle, who's learning from Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Gilmore. You have David Long Jr., who can become a big-time nickel corner. I thought he was playing his best football down the stretch last year. I'm going to go with Gilmore. But that is a very good question. Gilmore or Bobby Wagner? I'll go Gilmore, though. But that's a good question, man. I had to think about that. I really like Robert Rochelle. I think you stick with him, obviously. Fourth-round pick, guy that was a former wide receiver. Amazing ball skills, obviously, because he was a receiver. Athletic freak. He's just learning the position. No doubt in my mind, I think Rochelle is going to be a really good corner. I don't think you can go wrong with either, but you want to maximize that. And if you have to pick one, gun to your head, I'll go Gilmore. Roy, I see. Will you redo the intro on your podcast this season since we won the Super Bowl? I actually did. I got to take Von Miller out, but I did put right before we go into Alexis opening the show on the Downtown Rams podcast, the intro goes, it's Al Michaels, and he says, and the Rams were built to win the Super Bowl, and they have sealed the deal, and it goes right into the podcast. So, yeah, I got OBJ in there, I got Cup, and then the Cup touchdown goes into that, so... So let's see. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate that. What's up, Ray? Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. You have 138 people that have hit the like. Be sure to hit the like if you haven't already. Have over 208 people in here. Would really appreciate it. What is up, Michael? Love how some folks are trying to spin AD contract issue as driven by desire to keep Rams cap relief. GTFOH. It will also kick the cap problem down the road, but not motivated by a desire to free cap. Michael, that is spot on. I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, but if anybody thinks that Aaron Donald initiated this to save cap, they're wrong. Aaron Donald had one goal in mind: to make more money. He was never going to retire. He wanted to make more money. I'm not against him for doing that. I may not be the biggest fan of it because I feel like this is probably not the best time when you're trying to run it back, but that's what he's trying to do. And on top of it, the Rams are like, all right, we'll give you the raise, but you got to help us out because this is not working at Arby's, okay? It's not like Arby's gives you a raise and then you have to give them something back. I guess the best way to put it is, when you're working at a place like that, if you're working at, a Fortune 500 company or Fortune 100 company or whatever, it doesn't really matter where you're working, right? An everyday job, people like you and I, what we're doing, you don't have to typically do things like that because there's no such thing as a salary cap. So you're not going to get a raise and then you're not going to be asked to structure it in a way that makes it so they can, save more money. The NFL and sports are just entirely different. So what they're doing is they're like, all right, Aaron, we'll give you a raise, but this is football. This is the NFL. We have no issue spending the money, no issue whatsoever. The Rams do not have any issue spending the money. Stan Kroenke will open up that wallet and he'll throw money anywhere. But when it comes to the salary cap, they are strapped. And not really that bad because they always find a way to manipulate it, but they find a way to manipulate it by doing things like void years and, kicking the can down the road, for instance, and backloading. And so if Aaron Donald doesn't allow them to do that, then they're not going to have a deal because the Rams are not going to just give Aaron Donald a raise if it doesn't mean that up front the Rams aren't saving money. And it's not that they're not paying him that money. It's not that he's taking a pay cut. It's that the Rams are like, all right, we'll give you more money, but we want to structure your contract this way to help work with the NFL. And that way our cap is up to here and we can go out and we can win and get a better team around you. And that's how that works. So I agree with you, Michael, there. It's absolutely not because of that. You have to make it both work. You guys know how I feel. I love Aaron Donald, appreciate him. This was not the time. I understand everyone's on, like a lot of Rams fans are on team get the bag, and I get it. I talk to professional athletes all the time. We have all sorts of prospects on. I'm pro player, okay? So before you get it, before you think I'm not, I am. I've talked to over 500 draft prospects. I am pro player. I am very supportive of them. What I'm not the biggest fan of is during this time with this team trying to become a dynasty. It's already really difficult to repeat. It hasn't been done in like 20 years. But when you're trying to be the first team to repeat, and then all of a sudden you have this guy that wants this contract and this guy wants to get paid, and you've already paid this guy until 2024, but you also have to pay these guys. This guy's retiring, so I have to replace this guy. This guy is hurt, so I have to find a way to replace him. I lost this guy in free agency because I couldn't afford him because I had to pay you. This is how, you don't repeat, and you become another one of the 20, teams or whatever that haven't been able to repeat. If you're trying to be the first team in 20 plus years, or whatever the years are, to repeat Super Bowl wins, then you have to make sure that, it's a collective effort. And again, I understand, it's not the easiest thing, but I just think this was not the right time. That's all. I think next year would have made total sense. If they repeat, they win back-to-back Super Bowls. Aaron's like, all right, I won 2 Super Bowls. I'm, the best player in the league. Let's work out a deal. My contract expires in 2024. Another thing with that, and I'll keep saying this, we should stop acting like Aaron Donald isn't getting paid money. Because I've also seen this. AD deserves his money. Darnell, I agree with you. But you have to understand this. People were using Aaron's base salary last year was $1.8 million. I've literally seen this. Aaron Donald's base salary in 2018 was $892K. He had an $8 million signing bonus. He literally got up front, he got a $40,000 $40 million signing bonus. $40 million. 6 years, $135 million. Okay? Listen to this. His dead cap was $50 million in year 1. Year 2, it's $58 million. Year 3, it is $60 million. Year 4, it's $35 million because they restructured, so it made the other ones, more. So now we're talking this upcoming year, his cap hit is bigger than ever at 26.7. The next year, 23.5, and the next year, 23.5. Then he's a free agent in 2025. So he's signed through 2024 to one of the biggest contracts the sport has ever seen at the position. And now he wants to make more money. And I'm thinking, this might not have been the time. That's all. I don't think he's a terrible dude for doing it, but typically if you want to... But that's what I'm saying, Sammy, is that he was already locked up. Well, yeah, essentially, Stan, that's what I was getting at. I mean, I think just really what it comes down to is that it's really difficult to run it back with the same squad. The Bucs came back with the same starting 22 that they had the year prior when they won the Super Bowl. And they didn't do it. And now, the Rams didn't even bring back the same 22. You can look at it in multiple ways. But the fact is, the Rams are going to have a different starting left tackle, potentially a different starting right guard. Actually, they will have a different starting right guard. Different starting receiver. Same nose tackle, I guess you could argue. Different pass rusher. Von Miller's gone. Different cornerback. Starting cornerback. Safety has turnover. So, you're going to have different things. And then on top of that, the coaching staff. You lose your OC. You lose your secondary coach. You lose your tight ends coach. Your running backs coach just became the tight ends coach. Your new running backs coach was just in college with TCU and was focusing more on recruiting and being an assistant head coach, and now he's a running backs coach. I think all of this is going to work out, but you have to keep in mind that it is not running it back. This is not the same team. It's going to be different, and it might be better. There's a chance that it's better because I'll be honest with you, the only thing that leads me to believe that this Super Bowl team would have beaten the 2018 Super Bowl appearing team is because of Matthew Stafford. Because I can tell you right now, I think 2018 was a better roster. 2018's Rams would have given them some problems. Hell, they gave Tom Brady issues. And then you look at this team, and this team gave people issues, and the defense is playing well down the stretch. But it's Matthew Stafford versus Jared Goff, and I'm taking Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl any day. However, I think 2018 had the better roster. And I don't think anybody had any sort of, ability. If you're talking about a healthy Todd Gurley, no one is going to be able to stop Todd Gurley. No one in the league could stop Todd Gurley when he was at his full health. So that's kind of, my thing there is that I think there's a chance that this year they are better. And there's a chance they don't win the Super Bowl despite they are better. It is ridiculously hard to repeat. Number 1 schedule in the league as far as strength of schedule. You have all this turnover because people are plucking your guys because they just watched them in the Super Bowl from their couch because they can't get there on their own. And on top of it, you have different coaches that are getting plucked. You lose your coaches. And, now you have to pay guys that want, okay, we want a Super Bowl, now I want my money. Who have already been paid. And that's how it works. And so that's why, for me, I'm looking at, the Donald contract, and I'm like, he's the best player in the league. I'm not debating that. But, right now, are the Rams really in position to focus entirely on paying Aaron Donald when he's already signed through 2024? He signed the deal. So you're telling me with 2022, 2023, 2024... 3 years of contracts left remaining, and now he wants a raise. That's fine, but It's going to take some work. And the problem is, sounds to me like the Rams are focusing so much on this. How much time do they truly have? Can they continue to do this? Are they going to miss out on OBJ? Are they going to miss out on free agents? You know? I mean, you can't just do moves constantly and have them never hurt you in the end. Like, the Goff move absolutely could have hurt them. If they didn't have, like, Matthew Stafford type quarterbacks don't just show up. They don't just appear on the trading block. The Rams got bailed out by poor management of the Detroit Lions. They did nothing with him, so they ended up wanting to trade him, and he wanted out because he didn't want to rebuild again. That doesn't happen every year. Deshaun Watson just bailed out the Browns, maybe. They gave up a lot to get him. We don't even know about everything that's going to go on. We don't know if there's more cases down the line. We don't know what's going to happen there. And furthermore, we don't know how long he's going to get suspended. But the point is that is one of those freak things that happened, and it created an opportunity where the Browns were able to acquire him. Despite the fact they spent a first overall pick on Baker Mayfield in 2019. And they failed to develop him. You know? Think about it. These are bailouts. Like, I love the Rams. I love what they're doing. I love Matthew Stafford. He bailed them out. They weren't winning a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. They weren't winning a Super Bowl with John Wolford. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's the thing, is that, you know, this doesn't come around very often. The Rams made mistakes. They got bailed out. So, Goff, somebody somehow takes his contract and sends Matthew Stafford to the Rams, who wins a Super Bowl. Goff was done. Goff was not winning a Super Bowl with a team that was that talented. Goff's not winning one with the Lions. So, they bailed him out of that contract. They paid him way too early, and they paid him after he started to look like he was going downhill after the Chiefs game. So they paid him early. They paid Todd Gurley early, which I'll say this. Todd Gurley was deserving of the money. He was the best non-quarterback in the NFL aside from Aaron Donald. Okay? No one had an answer for Todd Gurley, the most dominant player with the ball in his hand. So I have no issue with them paying Todd Gurley. I had an issue with Goff. They paid Tavon Austin early. They ended up having to eat that money. They paid Brockers. They ended up having to eat that money. They've had to eat money before, right? They had to trade away Brandon Cooks because Jared Goff couldn't hit him in stride over the top anymore. He couldn't hit the deep ball. They literally paid Robert Woods. They gave him this contract he never played under and were able to send that entire deal to the Titans. And this is the thing, okay? And I'm not saying, like, he was totally worth the deal. I'm not saying he wasn't. But, like, the Rams got lucky, man. Like, they do a good job with the cap, but let's not sit here and act like, you know, like, it is not necessarily the most easy thing ever to run it back. Like, you know who got lucky? Tampa. Tampa got lucky. Because Tampa Bay, think about this. Tampa Bay was a team that had Jameis Winston throw 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and they were considering bringing him back, which, by the way, I'm pro Jameis. I think he was basically, he played in a system where, you know, you look at all of Bruce Arians' quarterbacks the first year, they lead the league in interceptions. Luck, Palmer, Winston, Brady didn't, but all the other ones did. You know, I thought he was, you know, unfairly treated. But, I mean, you go from Winston to Tom Brady, they got lucky. But that's the thing. Because when you make moves like that, you know, you got to be able to capitalize. And the Rams, for the most part, have been able to. But it just goes to show you that if you do make moves recklessly, they will hurt you. I mean, look at the Falcons. The Falcons paid Matt Ryan that ridiculous deal. Okay? Was Matt Ryan worth it? I'm not saying he wasn't worth it. But did they do a good job of protecting him to make it worth it? No. They did a horrible job protecting him. So absolutely not. So by the time he's, you know, the contract's still going on, He's banged up. He's not playing full seasons because the offense is getting him killed. And now they're trading him away and eating $40 million in dead money as if this guy's the problem when he was far from the problem. And on top of already eating all that money, which hurts them for the future, they now have to spend more money on a guy like Mariota, who, by the way, I like and I think is going to work out for them in some capacity, but now you're paying 2 quarterbacks. That's the thing. So the Rams used to have all this dead money on their ledger, so to speak, that they don't have anymore. Goff is off the books. Gurley's off the books. Cooks is off the books. Brockers. They used to have those guys on the books, and, like, dead money's bad. Like, the Rams will still have dead money. The restructure bonus with Robert Woods, they have $11.9 million in dead money for Robert Woods. So unless, Spotrac fixes that or whatever, or they figure that out, the Rams are carrying $11.9 million in dead money for Robert Woods. That's 5.92% of the cap. Rams have 13.4 total in dead money, and that's 6.7% against the cap. So I don't know if the Titans take on that. They could, but that's something to keep in mind. Also, the projected draft pool, based on the picks they have, folks, the cap hit is going to be $6.2 million. So you have to keep that in mind. That's estimated cap dollars. Third round pick would net them close to $1 million cap hit. Fourth rounder, $846K. Fifth rounder, $780. Then you have 3 sixth rounders, which would net you $742K. Seventh rounder, $732, and a $726K. So you always have to keep in mind there's a lot of things that go into the cap. It's not just as simple as this guy makes $8 million per year. He's an $8 million cap hit. That's what it is. And Luis, I'm with you. I'm so with you on the Henderson stuff. So with you. And I actually just saw a graphic earlier, the Super Bowl graphic with Sony Michel on it, but Henderson not. And I got to ask why. Because Sony Michel in the Super Bowl had I believe he had like 2 snaps. 2 carries maybe. Henderson's 4 receptions are a big reason why they were able to extend drives. He and Bryson Hopkins don't get enough credit. You don't win that Super Bowl without their receptions, their receiving ability. You just don't. And that guy was coming off an ankle injury. Michael, I just saw that. Yeah, it's weird, guys. For a second, I was talking. I'm like, no one's commenting. I don't think that's true. And then all of a sudden, they came flying in. There was some like delay with the comments, but no way. And you guys saw my issue because I know some were like, all right, guys, like, all right, Jake, chill. Like, you're being a hater on Cam Akers. We know you like Hendo. And I was like, no, I love Cam Akers, and I think he has a chance to be a star. But the thing that's holding him back, the thing that is holding him back from being on the field for all 3 downs, being consistent besides the fact that he's been injured so much, is his pass blocking. And the hope is he gets a lot better in pass protection. He has a full year to work on it now in the offseason, now that he isn't rehabbing an injury. But you saw it in the Super Bowl. The only sack that Andrew Whitworth gave up was because Cam Akers blocked Andrew Whitworth and not the guy. So that was not Whitworth's sack. That was Cam Akers. I don't think he was ready to come back either. I rushed him. I'm guilty of that, but I'm guilty of a lot of things. I see a lot of people like, wow, dude, you nailed the OBJ thing. You nailed this. You nailed that. You had the Rams winning the Super Bowl. You were so right about Stafford. And I'll be honest with you guys. I was watching my Stafford video, where I cut up all the all-22 clips, the ones that I remember we all watched together live because I did a premiere for it. And I was right about almost everything I said in there except the fact that he won MVP. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'm right about everything because I went back and I watched my reactions to the draft picks and I was like, wow. so unprofessional. And I gotta get better. I know I gotta get better at that. Like, for instance, the Tutu Atwell thing. Like, yeah, it was a memeable, funny moment when I was just like, but like, how is that helping you? Like, I mean, I freaked out. I looked at my big board. I said they could have gotten this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Like, I wasn't fair to it. And so, I mean, I've been honest to Tutu since. He's been on the show, all of that. I take full responsibility in that regard. Bobby Brown. I mean, I didn't like the pick initially, but looking at it, I understand why they got Bobby Brown. Robert Rochelle is the guy, you guys know I loved him. So, I mean, I like the pick, obviously. Jacob Harris. Oh, I remember saying, initially when he was drafted, I was like, yeah, big time body, athlete, all of that, but I didn't like the tape. And I'm like, well, why am I being such an asshole about, Jacob Harris when the dude played soccer for 2 years. He's not like a full-blown receiver yet, and he's got tools where if you put him with the right coaching, which the Rams have, and in the right system, which the Rams have, and around, top-notch pros, which the Rams also have, this guy could develop into something. And so, just kind of looking back at that, I was just kind of annoyed at myself because I ended up rewatching that the other day, and I was like, man, I sound like such an asshole. So, but I was huge on Chris Garrett for whatever reason, and then I forget what else I didn't like the Ernest Brown pick that much. But I mean, at the end of the day, guys, like the Rams are past like the value anymore. Like, so what I mean by that is when I first started, we were first covering the draft picks. I think 2016 is when I first started with Downtown Rams. And when I first started covering the draft, I was all about like, how can this, like, can they get starters? Can they get these, key guys? And, I just feel like now I have to realize, and I think I've learned this, and so hopefully I'm better this time around live, because I know you guys had fun anyway, right? Like, you guys enjoyed our live draft stream. I know a lot of you did, but I'm hoping it's a lot better this time around because I recognize where the Rams are at. You can look at it in terms of different things, but it's all about the team that's drafting these players. And we can talk about scheme fit. We can talk about how this guy has bad tape and yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing, okay? I'll say this. The Rams aren't drafting to get starters this year. So if they decide to pass on a 24-year-old plug-and-play safety to get a guy that's going to be ready at the end of Burgess's contract in case they don't want to bring back Burgess or somebody, if they opt to go with the younger guy who can help in special teams, like that is something now you have to judge based on that. That is how they're going to be drafting. They're not going to be drafting necessarily to find starters immediately. Plus, they're picking in the third round first. So it's going to be more of the same. You're going to see drafting potential like Terrell Lewis, Bobby Brown. You're going to see that. They're going to go after guys like that, and that's okay. But like I got to get used to that because I mean, I've been used to watching the Rams draft when they need starters. And I watch them pick guys as if they are a Super Bowl team. And I'm like, no, you don't want to get a guy that's not going to be ready for 4 years. Like, you need this guy to come in and start. You are the Sosar Rams. You went 4-12. This is probably my issue, the year prior with, trading up to get Goff. Because when you got Goff, in 2016, everyone's like, why were the Rams so bad in 2016? I mean, Sean McVay virtually had the same roster the next year. I'll tell you. The Rams draft picks on the field were very few. Your best draft pick, your number one draft pick is Goff first overall. He plays 9 games or 7 games, whatever it was, 7 games. He plays 7 games. So your number one pick is not on the field for 9 of the 16 games on the season. That hurts. So Case Keenum stops playing well at the beginning of the year, goes into because they lost the first game badly against the 49ers. Then after that, they won 3 straight. And then they didn't win another game until the Jets game, which I was at. And then they didn't win again when Goff took over. So you have a first overall pick out there. He's not playing well. And he doesn't even play that much. He plays 7 games the whole season. your best pick that was actually playing was Tyler Higbee, and he wasn't even playing that much. So that's the thing. When you go and you make that trade, you need to hit on the other picks. And I think they've hit on Tyler Higbee. I mean, absolutely. But, that year, he didn't play a lot. So, I mean, that's the thing. When you make a big trade like that, you need to realize that means your reinforcements are nothing. You're not going to have anything. If you draft a number 1 overall guy, and he's not playing the whole year, I don't care how long in the future he's going to be a star. In that season, in that moment, he's not helping you out. If he's not going to be ready until next year, how does that help you this year to win? It's almost why you can make the argument that the 49ers were probably a draft pick away from maybe beating the Rams in that game. Because they spent a first rounder on Trey Lance. As much as I love the guy, I absolutely love Trey Lance. But, I mean, let's look at the 2021 NFL draft. So, 2021 NFL draft. First overall selection, Trevor Lawrence. Second is Zach Wilson. 49ers traded up, they got the 12th pick. So they had the 12th pick. Guess who went 12? Micah Parsons. So, I mean, I love Trey Lance. Love him. And I think he's going to be a star. And I hate that he's on the Niners. But, I mean, hindsight's 2020. But, I mean, the Niners are at 12. That's literally the pick that Micah Parsons got drafted, who was by far the best out of this draft on the defensive side. Who would have been there? They could have gotten him or Rashawn Slater. They could have stayed there and gotten Mac Jones, who was NFL ready, and he probably plays over Jimmy Garoppolo. Elijah Vera Tucker would have helped out at guard. Now that they just lost, what's-his-face, to the Jets. Laken Tomlinson. Zaven Collins, another linebacker. Alex Leatherwood would have helped out when they lost Mike McGlinchey. That would have helped out. Jalen Phillips, premier pass rusher. Jamin Davis would have helped out, linebacker. They had so many linebacker issues. Like, Najee Harris even. I mean, what if the Niners had Harris? Didn't fumble all year. Greg Newsome when their cornerbacks got hurt. Bateman. Imagine putting Bateman with Debo and Ayuk. Peyton Turner. Gregory Rousseau. This is what I mean. So, as much as I love Trey Lance, this is what I'm talking about. Because if you pick someone number 1 or, in the first round early on, and he's not playing, you don't have him that season. And it's almost as if the 49ers were like, they were ready to win. And they picked a quarterback for the long term when in reality, if they just stuck with Garoppolo, as much as I hate to say it, they could have gotten Slater, who could have played guard, and then when McGlinchey went down, they don't have to play Tom Compton at right tackle. Or they get Parsons. They get Parsons to play linebacker. He has a Rookie of the Year season. The Rams don't beat them in the NFC title game. Think about it. That one pick might have changed their whole season, and they'll never know. But isn't it interesting? Isn't that interesting? Very interesting to me. Bubby339, how's it going? Thank you so much for donating, man. It's going well. I appreciate you and your donation. Means a lot. Right guard. Right guard will probably be Coleman Shelton. Yeah, I like the Ben Skoranek pick. Exactly, Alex. No need to draft future starters when your team is built the way the Rams are. Yeah, I agree with that. Mayor. I think Ernest Jones did surprise them. I mean, they were really high on him, but, you know, I do think that. They put D-Will as a tight end. That's funny. Matthew, thank you so much for donating. Thinking we should get Bobby Wagner signed no more than 2 years and see what happens. OBJ shouldn't be hard to keep. I don't think he likes it here. Yeah, it's really up to the Rams at that point. We'll see. I honestly don't think Wagner fits his defensive scheme. Not too keen on Wagner. I mean, I don't know if he really does fit the scheme, but you just kind of have to make it work if you get him. The Niners overvalued Jimmy G and now can't trade him. Now, do you play Lance next year if Jimmy G comes back? You got to play Lance. You got to. At this point, I think people are underrating Lance. I think people are acting like he's not ready. But then in the same token, saying how Kenny Pickett can lead an NFL team and Malik Willis. Trey Lance is younger than both of those guys. If Trey Lance came out, he'd be the youngest quarterback in this draft. It's just ridiculous. But anyway. What happened to Googs? I miss telling him about his affair with Brady. Oh, yeah, Parsons never should have fallen to 12. But if the Niners never trade down, then Parsons does fall to 12. You could argue things changed a little bit, but Parsons still fell. And I think a lot of it was because there was that hazing scandal at Penn State where he was a part of that. And I think that hurt him a little bit. No one's pointed out that it did, but I think it did. But think about this. So the Niners don't trade for Trey Lance, right? Miami traded away the third pick to go down to 12. Then Miami took that pick and traded it to Philadelphia, who then, I guess they traded with the Cowboys? So, okay. So this is how it would have gone. Trey Lance is there. You have Lawrence and Wilson off the board. You have the Miami Dolphins sitting there. Kyle Pitts is going to the Falcons. We all knew that. So the Bengals aren't getting him. Dolphins have the 6th pick. Maybe the Lions. Maybe the Lions are like, we're not going to get Sewell. We're going to get Trey Lance. And now we're talking about Trey Lance and Jared Goff. And if it's not the Lions, maybe it's the Panthers. Maybe they're like, all right, we'll see what happens with Sam Darnold, but we're going to get Trey Lance for now. Because J.C. Horn looked great and then got hurt at the beginning of the season. If it's not them, maybe it's the Eagles who ended up getting Devontae Smith. Maybe they trade up. Because the 49ers traded up before the draft, so everyone knew that there was going to be the top 3 quarterbacks were going to be off the board. It changes everything. The Bears trade up for Justin Fields. Maybe they trade up and get Trey Lance. Who knows? I mean, maybe I don't know. Patriots? Raiders? It would have, like Washington, it would have created this big stir, but either way, I still think, regardless of that trade, whoever's trading up is getting Trey Lance, and Micah Parsons is still going to fall to 12. I don't think the order changes at all. And now, Micah Parsons falls right to the Niners at 12 if they don't trade him. So, always interesting to think about. I think Wagner doesn't fit what they do. He would fit if they didn't have Ernest Jones, but I think based on what they want out of Ernest Jones, he wouldn't fit. So they would have to make him fit, is the point. Yeah, it was a panic move. And like I said, I love Trey Lance. But it was a panic move. You're absolutely right. And Deshaun Watson wanted to go to the Niners. The Niners just weren't going to be able to offer that, all that capital. Sentry, great question. I could see that happening again. I don't think that's just exclusive to Weddle. Could definitely see that happening again, but we'll see. I think anything's possible at this point. I think we've seen it all, But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Will it happen again? I think it's likely. Will Weddle do it? No. But I think, I think Fitzgerald could come out of retirement. I think people are wondering if Calvin Johnson still, if he'll come out of retirement at some point. Who knows? You just don't know, But I agree with you, Brandon, but I wouldn't have wanted Chandler Jones. Jones has injury issues. Jones doesn't have production at the level he should. It just doesn't match his talent. I would have wanted, if I could turn back the clock and get a pass rusher, it would have been Reddick. 27-year-old pass rusher, versatile, very similar to Justin Hollins in the fact he could play inside, play outside. I think I would have gone with Reddick. I was not a fan of Chandler Jones. I know, I haven't played Elden Ring in a while. Yeah. Yeah, I mean you're definitely allowed to if a team wants to sign you is the question, but yeah, you're definitely allowed to. I know that you are. The channel's growing, by the way. I mean, this channel, obviously, but the other channel as well. So this channel, we have what? I'm looking right now. We're halfway there to 13.4K. And the gaming channel, we're over 800 subscribers. So, just, we're going to keep it going. Oh, yeah, I haven't played in a minute, honestly. So don't worry. Like, I haven't played without you guys. I literally haven't played, period. Like, the only time I played was, I was helping my dad out because he started his game. Kind of feel like he could be, man. I would not be surprised if Les Snead is loading up for another trade. Wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being Danielle Hunter. I mean, I personally wouldn't do it. I would want to build around a guy like that, but, wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Yeah, no, I mean, Jones was at the bottom of my list, and not for that money. Like, Vaughn would have been, okay. Vaughn was pushing it at that money. I understand being all in, but you gotta be, you gotta be cautious. You can't just go balls to the wall getting, veterans and then be paying them like a 5-year deal. You can't be doing a 5-year deal for Von Miller. That's just, no, you can't do that. He's had some injury issues late in his tenure, and I just, no. But I mean, at the same time, it's like he's gonna want to cash out. This is his last big payday, so Thank you. I don't think I'm not great at Elden Ring, but I did get a little bit of a boost because I was playing on my dad's, and I don't know what it was because it took me until level 50 to beat Margit, the boss, and I beat him at level 16 on my dad's. So I don't know what I was doing wrong or if I'm that much better now, but I had a lot less than I did in the other one, and yeah. Oh God, Trevor Story. I would never have paid Trevor Story that much. And Trevor Story's young. I just don't think he's that great. He's in Colorado and he's not even hitting that well, And don't get me started, because the Yankees fans in my mentions or whatever. Anytime I post anything about the Yankees, It's all like complaining about they didn't get this star or this star. It's like, I don't know. Like I'm totally cool with like Major League Baseball going back to teams actually building teams, you know? But so in a contingency scenario, it sounds like Jordan Rodriguez was saying how they were potentially targeting Chandler Jones in a contingency scenario. But they were not targeting Zadarius Smith. And I think I know why. Zadarius Smith, there's some baggage there. You know, I like him personally, but I saw some stuff about fans saying with the Packers, he had a really big issue not being named captain. You know, that's why he went to the Ravens, you know, and then all of a sudden he backs out on his deal. So I have not beaten the Elden Lord yet. No, I have not. So I think that's probably it has something to do with it. I think the Rams wanted to keep away from, you know, the negativity. Matthew, thank you so much for donating. What is your gaming channel? I don't play anything but Fallout and Metro. I am older, but it keeps my boredom at bay being truck driver. Hey, I hear you there. I'll send it to you right now. I'll put it in the comment section. Just bear with me one sec. I'm going to go and grab that link. It's just Jake Ellenbogen Gaming, but I play whatever I want, but I play mainly Elden Ring. They're calling me Jake Eldenbogen now, which is interesting. There we go. That's my gaming channel. Yeah, I was talking about Zadarius more as a player, but you know, they didn't like his personality, clearly. I don't know that for sure, but I can only imagine. Yeah, Elden Ring does humble the hell out of everyone. Brandon, I like the offseason. I just didn't like that they got rid of Woods. Before that, I was like, all right, you brought 3 of the 4 offensive linemen back. Everyone is under $6 million in everyone is under a $6 million cap hit except for Stafford, who has a $13 million cap hit. I think they've done a really good job at that. That's why I think that there's a big move coming. Jake Eldenbogen, dear God. I'm going to try. I know I keep saying that, but God. I'm going to need to. God, when the tournament comes back around on Thursday, I got so into March Madness. I'm surprised I haven't done any videos on it. I've talked about it a little bit, but I haven't done any videos on it. I was going to. I love March Madness, man. I didn't really get into it last year because I got so busy, but, you know, I absolutely love it. Vaughn chose the money, man. You know? Is what it is. But he chose the money, and I don't think it was that much more than what the Rams were going to offer. And, I mean, I also heard the Bills' offer looks better on paper, but it's really not as good as people think. Like, it looks massive, but, like, you know, it's not going to end up being a big deal. Like, I was hearing it would be like a 3-year deal. Do they even have it on Spotrac? Yeah, Von Miller's cap hit this year is $5.1 million, which makes sense because that's what the Rams probably would have done. But yeah, so the Von Miller contract, this is how it works. So it's a $5.1 million cap hit this year, 18 next year, 21 the year after, 21 in 2025, 23 in 2026, and $30 million in 2027. He's a free agent in 2028. but there's a potential out at the end of the 2024 season, which really makes this a 3-year deal because they're going to get that potential out. They only, end up with $7.4 million in dead cap by doing so, and they leave about, half the contract left on the table. So if Von Miller doesn't retire, he'll be a cap casualty at age 36. He's not going to play. Like, that's the thing. That's why a lot of these players, they jump at the idea it's 6 years, $120 million. He's not going to see all $120 million. I don't know if they'll ride with Perkins as the backup because I know they still have John Wolford, but we'll see. Maybe. I don't think they're getting Xavier Howard. Appreciate that, Matthew. No, Wolford didn't leave. He's still there. I'm curious because, guys, there's some guys in the USFL that could end up signing with the Rams as well. They did sign Wolford from the AAF, so, don't sleep on the USFL guys either. I don't think this roster's finished. Depth-wise, of course. I mean, it's not finished. I think they're going to go out and get a potential starter for sure, maybe 2. So, been a fun stream. Can we get to 200 before I head out of here? We're at 190 likes. We have over 250 people in here. If everyone could just hit the thumbs up, like it for me, would really appreciate it. Would really appreciate it. I don't know about Clowney, but we'll see, maybe. Let's keep it going. Awesome. Over 200. And we got some subscribers as well. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Appreciate you for liking, hitting the thumbs up. Would love to figure out a way, because I've been told on Twitter that there's some people that don't even see the thumbs up button on their phone. They don't see the like button. They hit the like button. It doesn't register. So, and then there's some people that forget. So before I leave, if anyone could give me any ideas on how it would be easier to remind people, because I've forgotten to hit the thumbs up before, and I've gone back to the video and hit thumbs up if it helped me out. Drop, before I head on out of here, drop something below and tell me a way. Just give me ideas of a way that would make it easier for you to remember to hit the thumbs up button for me on the videos. Like, what? Just give me some creative way. Like, should I pin it in the comments section? Should I, put something up there to subscribe, thumbs up, whatever? Yeah, I think it's, if you don't exit out of the live chat, I don't think you can see the thumbs up on your page. I mean, I would do that, but I don't think they allow me to. I mean, I could put it on my video. I'm going to start saying what P-Train just said. Like, that's what I'll do. Every show, I'll be like, hey, if you're in the live chat, because I get a lot of thumbs up, obviously, during the show, but, we obviously never end up getting as much as, and you're not going to. But I want to get more, because if I get more, then YouTube is going to... If you get a lot in rapid succession, YouTube will send a bunch of people there. Have a minute-long intermission from the stream with a message telling people to like. Interesting. I was thinking about adding, like, commercials as well, That's awesome. A foam thumbs up for the display. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's cool. Okay. I'm getting some good ideas. Thank you, the SF Niners. Appreciate you. Tell him Nick Scott the like button. I like that. Yeah, I think what I'll do is, I mean, I'm so excited, guys. When I get my new laptop, the thing is an absolute animal. I'll be able to run at 60 frames. I run at 48. I don't know if you guys knew that. I don't know if I told you guys that. I hope it looks good. It's downscaled. I run at 48 frames per second. Um, when I'm streaming, just because I don't want to drop any frames. And typically it like goes in between 60 and 48. So this next laptop I'm getting, it's a game changer. I'll run at 60. I won't do 4K because 4K, there's no point. It'll just downscale it to 1080. So I'll do 1080, 60 frames. And I'll continue that. But I'll add more as time goes on. Like I'll add more to the table as far as like what we can do, like different graphics. Like when I'm talking about different things, I'll put like what we're talking about up here because I'll be able to do it because how fast my computer will be going, it won't lag. So I'll be able to set up different, like, all right, we're talking about this and I'll put it up there and that'll be that. It's the M1X chip. So the M1 Max chip. I am so excited for it. I can't tell you enough. I ordered it on February 1st. It is pretty much my whole, like, not everything I made last year with YouTube, but most of what I made with YouTube last year is going into this laptop. This is a game changer. 8 terabyte hard drive, solid state hard drive. I want this thing to be the beast that I have for years, and I want to make sure that I'm just taking my content to the next level. And so, in doing so, getting this thing, I'm just really, really excited to have it because I'll be able to have more like live overlays and things like that. So the stream will look different. The production will look better. Hopefully the production looks good now, but channel name in the chat for DTR so I can follow her. Hell yeah, Nolan, you know it. Let me before I go, actually, if you want to do me a favor, my co-host Alexis Kraft of the Downtown Rams podcast, who I will be seeing very shortly because we have in about under an hour, we got back to back interviews with prospects. But if you guys could go give her a sub, not a sandwich, but a subscription. If you could subscribe to her channel, I just dropped the link below. Hit that. Let's see if we can get her to 300. I have 233 people in here. If we get her to 300, I will be super happy. Then I might even have to just give you something. I don't know what, but she's at 249. Can we get her to 300 before I get off? That'd be really dope. I'm going to monitor it right now. We're just going to keep reloading. Young AK. Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Willie? She's got 249. Let's see if we can get her up. Yeah, go to that channel and hit her with every sort of, well, obviously just hit her with the subscribe button. That'll do. We got 252. We got 3 people. Let's see. Can we keep this thing going? I know we can. Before I leave, we're over 200 people. Actually, I mean, if everyone can go and subscribe, that would be great. If we get her to 350 or 400, I'd love it. But at least get her to 300. Let's get her subbed. I know a lot of you probably already subbed to her, but, Yeah, they're in progress with the extension, Aaron Donald. That's pretty much what I heard as well. USFL rules announcement coming tomorrow. I have no idea what that means, but I did just see that come across my feed. I'm going to try to play some Elden Ring today. 253. Yeah, I don't think they'll get rid of Ashawn Robinson. Jake Eldenbogen is back. Oh, Lord. What have I done? Oh, boy. Do I go paintballing? I've never done paintball before. A lot of my friends have, though. Yeah, I'll try to do it after Alexis. I don't want to overlap hers. I don't want to take away anybody from doing that, as you guys know. So J.R. Reed, I like that in Denver. Yeah, everyone go check out Alexis's channel and give her a sub. Not Rams related, but I think the Colts should be stoked to acquire Matt Ryan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Matt Ryan, and he's got an offensive line now. I think people are sleeping on him a bit. That's just me, though. But I do think they're sleeping on him a bit. Yes, hit the like and then go over to Alexis Crafts channel. I gotta probably post it again, but and give her a sub. I'm not leaving until we get 300 subscribers on her account. Nothing yet. We're still waiting. We got 254. Let's go and hit that. Hit the subscribe. Hey, I'm for giving Michaels his due. I love Al Michaels. Why is that about Danielle Hunter or Danielle Hunter? God, I gotta get better at that. Why do you say that? Can you still try and trade for a player who just got his contract restructured? Yeah, you can. Makes it easier for you to take on. If I could pick one team in any franchise for any sports team that you dislike the most, who is it? God. Probably the Niners. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be the Niners. It really depends. Like, if the Niners were to fall off and the Seahawks all of a sudden were a problem, then probably, it'd probably change. But right now it's the Niners, I would say. I mean, I don't really hate any NBA team that much. Like, I'm not a typical Lakers fan that just despises the Celtics. I didn't live through that. They played in the finals twice. They lost one, they won one, so I don't really hate them. Um, but I understand that was a big rivalry. But yeah, I think I'm curious how I want to do this. I don't hate Saints fans or the team. Yeah, I don't have any issue with them. I'm not a big Dodgers fan, as you guys know. I won't say I hate them as much as I hate the Niners, but yeah, I'm thinking. All right, what was it? All right, well, I'm gonna head on out of here because I got an interview to do. But I appreciate everyone being in here. Appreciate you guys supporting. Um, and I'm gonna send you right over to the interview Alexis and I did with Vidarian Lowe. So um, that's how we're gonna do it. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Probably gonna go live tomorrow, a little bit earlier. Try to get some gaming in tonight, and try to get some gaming in tomorrow a little bit earlier. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. You be good people. I'll see you guys soon. Sending you over to that video now. Later.